of the enemy's tricks is to isolate us and make us think that we are the only ones facing a particular problem. This is true as it relates to father wounds because we generally don't talk about it. The subject may come up around Father's Day, but it is not a guarantee. For the next 9 weeks, I'm going to be sharing conversations with women who have experienced father wounds. Now, although their stories are uniquely different, it is my hope that you will hear something that you can relate to, that resonates with you and makes you feel seen and helps you to find hope. May you finish this series knowing that you are loved, wanted, valued, important, beautiful, precious, cherished, healed, and fathered. Amy, I know you had a great relationship with your father growing up, and then after he had adultery, it impacted your relationship. How did it affect the way that you view your dad, and then also how did it impact your relationship with your husband?
It took a toll on how I viewed my father, a great toll, because I later realized that I kept wanting to see my dad as the man that he was for me as a child, and not even just as a child. You know, when that happened, I was an adult. I was close to 30 years old. Mm-hmm. And so for several years, I had this great picture of him as a Christian and as a Christian father and someone to look up to and someone that my husband should, mirror to an extent. And when that happened, it was just like, what is happening? Who are you? Like, what happened to make you drift so far from your character and shake our foundation this way to actually, pull the rug from under us and just leave us there? That's how I felt. And so it took a while to adjust to seeing him in that light, because it was like so unbelievable. And then I believe God has slowly allowed us to communicate. The door has always been open to where I've been able to eventually talk to him and say, like, what happened, what was going on, or just at least share what I was experiencing or how I was hurt by it. And in that, I was able to kind of gradually start to see him separately as a man that made a mistake.
Yeah.
And that I needed to eventually forgive. As it relates to my husband, because of what my father did, and because you often think as a girl, a wife, a woman, I'm probably going to marry my father, someone who's going to in some way be like my dad, I did start to look at my husband like, or have these anxious moments, a lot of anxiety that affected me eventually in my sleep as well, and I didn't realize it, where I was wondering, did I marry my father to this extent?
Right.
Like, what does this look like for my life? Where are you going? What are you doing? And it was initially just mental, and I started to realize I've never been that type of person. I've never been that type of woman, and I married my husband on good ground, on solid ground about trust.
Sure.
And so I needed to not make him liable for my father's actions, if that makes sense.
It does. I had heard a minister previously say that there's a temptation when you get married to take the angst that you might have had for a parent and then direct it towards your spouse because they're in close proximity, and so you're kind of describing that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Did you have some feelings of anger maybe during that time towards your father that might have just spewed out on your husband?
I don't think I did. I think what spewed out was more of the side eye, the questions about trust and loyalty that I shouldn't have put him through. And so it grew into a lot of times of, making sure, kind of trying to pull out a security that he should have been good with through the I do's, through the covenant at the altar of trusting him not to be unfaithful. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking over his shoulder every now and again and asking, okay, this is what I'm experiencing. I'm having another nightmare about you possibly being unfaithful as a result of my dad being unfaithful. He's like, you're okay. I understand. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that to you. I know you're hurt. Okay, I've had another dream again. It's like, okay, when are we going to get over this? So not the anger, but the anxiety and the almost panics, to where it was like, can we do something to help you heal from this so that it won't pull our marriage down?
I like that you kept the lines of communication open with your husband. You were honest. You were sharing this journey with him. I think so often as women, we don't share what's going on with us, with our husband. I'm wondering, can you unpack just a little bit some practical things that women can do so that they don't redirect their frustrations or whatever they've experienced with their biological father onto their spouse?
Communicate. Honestly, first and foremost, communicate. And not just communicate. Pray about the communication. I would say pray about the communication first.
And the timing.
Exactly.
Girl,
because sometimes we go through things. Okay, so there's an example I like to think of where your husband may come home from work, and nowadays everyone has a cell phone, and he takes his jacket off and he looks at his cell phone and he puts it in his coat and he puts it in the closet and he walks away and goes about his business, and she's looking like, why is he hiding the cell phone? Like, why is the cell phone in the closet, in your coat pocket? Like, something's on the cell phone. And in actuality, she hasn't settled in what that means exactly. Why are you feeling this way? When you sit in it long enough, you'll come to realize, I have trust issues. Maybe I saw my dad hide the cell phone because he was actually hiding greater things. And in realizing that, husband, I need to talk to you. I know you're probably not meaning anything and this is probably nothing. But when you do that, this is how it makes me feel. Can we talk about maybe you doing something else, or just the fact that I need to talk to you to share with you the trauma I experienced and the healing that I need to go through, and you may have to help me go through this because I don't want it to impact our marriage. We like to think that you shouldn't make a person responsible for the past relationship, right? I think the same thing goes for our fathers. I should not have to make my husband, and he should not carry the weight of my dad's the trauma he caused and the wounds, and make him responsible for all the things that I'm still healing from, but allow him to help me heal through those things.
That is so good. That's so good. And I think what will help aid that is if we can be self-aware, if we can do some work, and if we can take a beat.
Right.
Sister girl, before you start talking, you might need to be quiet, drink some water, sip some tea. Pray, and give yourself some time to simmer. Don't always go with that initial thought. That's wisdom, girl. Such wisdom, so that we can have a healthy and a whole marriage.
Exactly.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey sister, I hope this video was an encouragement to you. And a great next step is to watch some of the other videos on my YouTube channel. Or you can check out some of the resources that you'll find below in the description section of this video. There is a father wound quiz to help you pinpoint the type of wound that you have experienced. There is also an Overcoming Father Wounds YouVersion devotional, a free chapter of my book, Overcoming Father Wounds, and a podcast, Hope for Women with Father Wounds. All of these resources have been crafted intentionally with you in mind. If you are a woman who has father wounds, be encouraged and know, sis, that there is hope. I also want to invite you to purchase my book, Overcoming Father Wounds, Exchanging Your Pain for God's Perfect Love, as it is yet another resource that I have created with you in mind. Take care, be blessed, and be encouraged.